have all of those chances. Benyart's going off is a big loss, so who can set the tempo in midfield now? It falls upon Denny Jonro. Lockie Rose straight into that right wing back position. Jake McGinn goes into the heart of midfield as well, Harps.
Yeah, it's obviously Denny Jonro is a totally different player from Benyart, but his brief won't be to go into the midfield and be another Benyart. But the vacuum that's created by losing Benny, Jonro might grow into it in his own way. It's a great opportunity for him to stamp himself with his own style, but to take the lead in that midfield. McGinn will anchor that midfield very admirably, I'm sure. They get a lot of speed down the right flank with Rose now. This is potentially a really exciting opportunity for Denny Jonro.
And you'd think Benyart would be told to get ready for May 27 against the Mariners here. You doubt with a calf issue whether he'd travel west, but we'll wait and see. That's Macarthur's next game. Still 9 days away. Brimmer surging through midfield, and Brooks can play in Kamsoba here. Elvis Kamsoba out in front of Jested, and another chance goes up in flames.
It does. He goes begging completely. The crossing situation not completely easy for Kamsoba because Meredith had closed in, but he still gets to the ball and can make Jested there. Just needs to pull it back a little bit. Unfortunately for Victory, the last pass towards the end of that first half and now to start the second has been found wanting badly.
That is brilliant play by Momwa. Found Derbyshire and was making the run in behind as well, but Derbyshire lost possession. Just there, that's the kind of passing he wants. Found Kamsoba, who couldn't quite link up with Brooks in the middle. The pass a little behind him, but
he hasn't got his range, Elvis. That attack was behind Lockie Brooks, and the one before was too far in front of Rudy Jested, somewhere in between, Elvis.
Butterfield's delivery, and that was perfect for Jested, but he slipped and made the wrong move, perhaps, coming inside on Shushnya, who let it roll in the end. But the opening 2.5 minutes bode well for the victory, it seems.
It's a great cross, this, and there are grass embankments around here, so we should check the grassy knoll, because someone's taken out Jested. Inexplicable collapse by the big guy. That's a tap-in for him.
Kamsoba gets there, hangs it up. Jested! Power in the header, straight at Federici.
Elvis found the average between his previous two efforts. That was bang on. This is the service that Rudy likes. Again, Butterfield, it's been a bit of a clinic from him tonight with attacking passes. Credit to him. But he stuck that up beautifully, did Elvis, and that's the sort of thing that Jested wants to feed off. Derbyshire
through the legs. Little deflection just favoured Dylan Ryan in that battle with Shushaeta. Square ball by Butterfield on the edge of his own area. Rue's pass had some risk associated as well, but that risk pays off now with Kamsoba dragging Shushnya wide. Around the corner for Brooks, cut back and cut out by Milligan, importantly.
Well, sweeping is how I'd describe that, Speedy. How good's the start of this second half? Victory throwing caution to the wind. And the last couple of attacks have started to find the right option and the range with the delivery. That was well defended in the end by Macarthur, but they were way too open in midfield.
Friendlier fans behind Brimmer for this corner. Butterfield back out towards him. Dylan Ryan had stayed deep. It was awkward for him. Great use of the body by Liam Rose, but perhaps at some expense his lower leg may have been turned there awkwardly as Dylan Ryan climbed over him.
He just caught his ankle. Well, not just, he's rolled his ankle there under the attention as Rose, and they're pretty uncomfortable, those.
Well, the opening 5 minutes of this second half, Mark Bosnich, will be encouraging the Victory fans that maybe their team can turn it around on the road here.
Absolutely, 100%. And Adam Peacock and I were talking about at half-time that they will get chances again, and they have done. And the mentality needs to change in terms of the fact that they just got to look at the team that, you know, they just don't, again, look like scoring. They will get chances and more, but they need to have that confidence in themselves. I mean, Jested should have scored that header, no doubt about that. And they just got to keep believing, because if they get a goal here, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they went on to actually come back and win this game because of how many chances that they're creating. If there's ever a wake-up call for Macarthur, it's been in these first 5 minutes.
And Brooks has gone into the 10 role. Cam Sober wide right, so that was an adjustment made at half-time. For Lamy, he's been untouchable at times down his flank. Barnett sat Rose down, in by Falami, back in towards Cam Sober, and now Brooks, another chance.
Well, Brooks started this opportunity with a wonderful piece of play on about halfway, but poor technique in the end let him down. Didn't quite settle for Elvis, and the quasi clearance from the Macarthur defence falls to the feet of Brooks. He hasn't got the technique to deal with it.
Wonder whether in the dressing room at half-time what the discussion was to send Brooks back to that number 10 role and Cam Sober back to the wing.
Well, it might be something that chops and changes through the half, Speedy. The evidence is they can both hurt opponents in both parts of the field.
Terrible pass out by Shushnia, straight to Brimmer. It's happened on multiple occasions tonight. Cam Sober cutting inside here, and Shushnia able to shepherd it out of play. There is Benyart taken off at half-time with a calf concern. And they're missing his influence in the middle of the park right now.
Just about to say that, Speedy. You can see how much they're missing him. And unless somebody can take upon his role and say, look, I'm going to be the one who's going to put a foot on the ball and start running the match in terms of the tempo and so forth, they might have to change just a little bit their philosophy of how they play. We know they love to keep possession, play the most passes in the league. But right this moment in time, it's just as though it looks as though they're just waiting for a goal, you know, to be scored against them. And it might be the senior players, the Mark Milligans, the Shushniars, the Meredith, to say, look, listen, all right, if Jean Rowe or if Rose isn't going to come and do the Benyart thing, maybe we're going to start playing a little bit long and a little bit in behind for the likes of Rose, for the likes of Mwumba, to push them back, to give us a little bit more room to play in.
Just kept in by Rose. The two Roses playing in close proximity. Here's Brimmer. Could call him the thorn in that situation. Here's Brooks, and now Rue going for goal. And there were some other options.
Yeah, there were. I just wonder from a Macarthur viewpoint, it's probably more radical surgery than Ante Milicic might consider. Here's the ball squeezed out to Storm Rue. It's a good shooting opportunity, just doesn't make the contact. Yeah, I just wonder if it's worth, if he is considering moving Mark Milligan into that midfield to control things. He's stylistically more like Benyart than the guys there at the moment. And that was my challenge, for want of a better way of putting it, to Denny Genro. You're not going to do the same technical role as Benyart, but you can, as a personality, fill that hole. It's the opportunity for him.
Meredith, one of the goal scorers, being urged on here. Back to Shushaeta. Shushniar has stepped up, the lefty, back to McGing. If they were to push Milligan into midfield, it would require Golick coming off the bench, you'd reckon, to play as a centre-half, or McGing, of course. Going back into central defence. Awkward one there for Milligan, who stretched and controlled impressively with just there lurking.
Yeah, like I said, it's probably more radical surgery than Ante Milicic is seriously considering. You never know, but Milligan is great in midfield.
And I was thinking exactly the same thing, Andy, whether or not to bring Milligan in there or even Loic Pio and make him be the Banyat for them, because obviously they're in that mode of playing in that way.
Suspicion of offside against Brooks, but it doesn't matter now as his cross went straight to Federici. There is the Frenchman, Loic Puyol. Still got 3 substitution windows Ante Milicic to use after bringing on Lockie Rose at half-time. No damage done on the scoreboard in that first 10 minutes since the break. It wasn't through a lack of chances for the team in navy blue. Brimmer trying to press and create some pressure. Federici's diagonal will find the head of Rose, who got a slight flick on. Good stretch by Milligan. Butterfield able to use Rue. Just there ready at the back post. Kamsoba nicked it past Meredith, but Shushnya has his measure at the moment, and Kamsoba gives away a free kick for the push.
A little clip there from... We haven't had that for a while, Speedy. Little clip. Little clip there from Elvis Kamsoba. Accidental. They may well have been, but still ref's right to pull that up.
Genre to Shushaeta. Ante Milicic telling Lockie Rose, we need you forward. Pass going backwards to Acton on his wrong side. It was awkward for the goalkeeper. Rose trying to bring it down for Mombois. Got the better of Barnett.
Well, there's another difference to Macarthur in this half. And of course, Banyat has made way. Spoken about that, but Mombois hasn't hit his straps in this second half. And to my way of thinking, he was clearly a delineating factor in that first half.
Here he is, responding to the Harper challenge. Maybe the first time delineating has been used in A-League commentary history. Great to be here to witness it.
Is that a little clip?
No. Just in awe. Good scrap. And John Rowe won the throw. Well, he should have done. Played it out off Falami, it appeared. That's what the Bulls fans thought.
Well, Martis is stripped on the bench, off the bench for Macarthur. So midfield is going to get some attention on Ante Milicic.
Maybe Jean Rowe played it out off his teammate. And it was the right call from the assistant, who had a good view. Credit to him. They've steadied Macarthur, enjoying a good spell of possession in the last few minutes. Rose has stayed forward as Milicic instructed, and Milligan is looking for him against Barnett. That match-up that they targeted at half-time. Mombois, McKing, central, back to the wide man. Barnett getting help from Falami defensively. Genre stumbled and then tried to bring down Leighton Brooks. Didn't really get him, so just the free kick sufficed in the end. And Genre might be lucky on that front. Just back from suspension after accumulating 5 yellow cards, Denny Genre. Shush now with a hasty clearance. Falami wins the free kick. Liam Rose says he had a handful of my shirt, referee. Is he holding off on this change as they defend a set piece? It looks like that.
This is a dangerous position, especially with someone who likes Jake Brimmer on the ball here. He's a good delivery.
Just there trying to time his run in the middle. Not the delivery Brimmer was after. Broxham took on the strike. Mombois v Campsober. Mombois one out. The no-look pass, though, picked off by Campsober. Had Meredith covered in a foot race. Now it's time for that change. And McGing goes back into defence. Martis will come into midfield as Rose departs of the Liam variety.
Well, you have to suspect that it's in reaction to that twisted ankle for Liam Rose. But I must say it's great to see him back at A-League level. I first saw him come through at the Central Coast Mariners a couple of years ago, and then he was finding his feet again and re-establishing his career, keeping his career going at MPL level.
Shoshaeta disguising the pass for Rose. Couldn't lift it away from Acton, and Derbyshire upset this time with the service. So he was unmarked back post. Federici teased Brooks into coming forward. Victory got the ball back.
It's the third time Federici's looked for Lockie Rose out here on the right. The area he should be looking for is that area right behind Brimmer and Butterfield, which is a massive gap, and he should be getting Derbyshire to come and get it on his chest.
Yep, falling in love with Rose v Barnett and forgetting about what gave them so much joy in the first half. Space between the lines in the middle. Rose delivers again. It was awkward for Ryan facing towards his own goal.
Just a personal view, but Lockie Rose, I think his starting position should be higher up the field. I think he's a little bit too conservative, I'm sure. As Ante Milicic said to us after half-time, his issue with his players was to get them to be a little bit more positive, less conservative. And I think as a case in point, that's Lockie Rose. His starting position needs to be more aggressive. When he receives the ball, continue that mentality.
John Rose corner. Milligan chasing down the scraps, but beaten to it by Campsober. Goal kick that Acton will take in a hurry. Sometimes the best looking playing surfaces can be the ones that the players really struggle to keep their footing on. When you look at it, this one looks very similar to Amy Park, in fact, where a lot of players fall over. There's Liam Rose having that leg injury attended to. Card is out here. Matt Derbyshire says for me. Swinging arm that caught the face of Lee Broxham, and Adam Kersey says there's your ticket. won it back against the odds on multiple occasions tonight. And that flick was coming off as well. Cynical drag back by Brooks, and the fans can't believe that that's not worthy of a yellow card.
Yeah, he brings, this is the thing with players like Mongwa, he's the icebreaker. Little turn, little trick, a bit of ingenuity. It's out of the orthodox way of doing things at those particular moments, and it can be a spark for the team.
Challenge from behind. Took ball and Derbyshire. Dylan Ryan timed it nicely. Shoshaeta into space, tracked by Brimmer. Genre eventually made his move from midfield. Momwa keeps the attack alive. Crowding Falami out when they can. Identified as one of the danger men. Tidy switch from Barnett. Entering that phase of the game when it can really open up, especially if Steve Keane was to go to his bench. That's an inexperienced bench. Outside of that change that was already made, Cruz off and Brooks on. Just dead. Barnett pushes on, wants it back here from Falami. Full of tricks, Ben Falami. Passes coming off in this raid. Risky ball back into his own area from Martis. It's not what he was sent back out there to do. Got away with it.
And just coming off your point, Speedy, about a crucial part of the game, is it what? Next goal really decides what type of finish we're going to have. Melbourne Victory must be thinking, we get a goal here, we're right back in this.
And they asked for a flag that is not going to come. He was onside there, Cam Sober.
And in Macarthur's perspective, they can just think to themselves, they can have a goal here, can kill this off. Because if not, they're going to be biting their fingernails on the Macarthur bench.
JB De Marini, the assistant coach, had plenty of joy against the Wanderers with set pieces. And getting on the end of things was Ryan from a really tough spot to test Federici, though.
I'm not quite sure if that one went to plan, but maybe easier said than done. But Dylan Ryan, who's good in the air, his target shouldn't have been to head towards goal there, if that's what was in his mind. But should have been to head it back into the pack.
Another slip as Federici took the goal kick. Enough distance in it to avoid being red-faced. He checks his studs. They haven't got hush puppies on, have they, Harps?
Well, I don't think Federici does, which maybe Dylan Ryan doesn't either, and he still slipped. I need to provide that escape clause for him. Getting a bit of gardening work done now.
I really do think the amount of water that some of these teams put on the pitch beforehand is actually a detriment sometimes. We saw the injury to Javella. That was, in my opinion, a lot to do with that. It makes the ground like an ice rink.
Yep, let's hope some people listen to you, Bozza, because you've made that point very well in the past, but the sprinklers keep on getting turned on and people keep on slipping and sliding all over the place. Cam Sober. Butterfield. Falami. It's hard work for the victory here. Plenty of numbers there in white. Just Ed wanted it early. Butterfield turned him down. Still waiting for it, Rudy. And Rue didn't get the elevation. Dylan Ryan went straight through the back of Derbyshire. Hang on a minute. Derbyshire got a yellow card for an accidental arm before, and Dylan Ryan looked like his sole motivation there was to give Derbyshire a whack.
It's a dead set yellow. The ref going to pull him over. That's a yellow card, if ever there was one. He started out full of intent for the ball, but he's so late. And it's just a free kick. Go figure.
Kersey being told that he's under the Fox Sports microscope there. He was on camera talking it over with the VAR boys. Chris Griffiths-Jones back at the VAR centre, maybe offering a word of advice. Can't recommend yellow cards though, of course, in the VAR. Only reds. Here's Falami. Still there for him, but wasn't sure where it was after the ricochets. Ryan in the back of Derbyshire again, prompting another whistle.
Last warning for him. I think that was the word from Kersey, but he might have been a bit more restrained then if he'd correctly received the yellow card just a minute earlier. Interesting phase of the game. You guys have both referred to it. Melbourne Victory have been good value going forward. There are signs that they've lost a little belief in themselves to get that goal. They've wasted so many chances, and that combined with their ladder position, you can understand why the confidence and belief might evaporate. Question is whether Macarthur can sense that, and if there is any drop in confidence from the Victory, can Macarthur actually exploit it? They haven't shown any real signs that they're of the mind to really go for it here. And it was certainly what Ante Milicic wanted from his team.
His team has squared it up on a live ladder goal difference wise and jumped to second.
And that's spot on, Harps. I think Victory have lost a bit of momentum here. Macarthur have wrestled it back, if you like, and I think it's time for Steve Keane to consider substitutions.
Well, Genre 12th there, and it's prompted the counter-attack. Elvis Kamsoba shaping up against Shushnia. Gested works it to Falami, who's opened up the angle, and that's a penalty, is it? No. Mark Milligan going down as though he's been hit in the head, and Adam Kersey stops play as a result. Falami appealed as though the hand had charged down that shot. If it did, it's a dead set spot kick. If it hit the head, then he's fine, Mark Milligan. If you catch my drift.
Could it be both? We'll wait and see. Milligan's certainly been put out of the equation. No, it's face. Right in the mush. The arm was there, which is what got everyone's attention, but it's gone straight through, right into the mush.
Already cleared by VAR. The prospect of a penalty after seeing those replays. Concussion test being applied by the independent team doctor. Where are you? Who are you playing? What's the score? How's your head? After this, there'll be 15 minutes of the 90 to go, and then a decent portion of stoppage time that's being added to here. Sure, Adam Kersey setting the top stopwatch as we speak.
Yeah, Falami does well here. The pass from Gested, who won the ball on halfway. Just a little bit under hit. That wasn't from Falami. And the full force went into the face of Mark Milligan.
Face from close range. The ball was travelling from Falami, was trying to pick out that top corner like Callum McManaman did recently from a similar angle for the victory. They're missing his presence, of course, in wide areas. Good flick on there. And here goes Momwa. Shushaeta gave him a great chance there out of the long stoppage. Derbyshire goes for goal. Swings a leg at it with Acton out of position. Macarthur has sprung to life after watching Mark Milligan go down for a moment, requiring that treatment. He's back in position. Part of that rear guard. Mark Bosnich talked about Steve Keane needing to make some changes. Notice that was the reaction on social media to their team sheet. Some exciting youngsters there, and Victory fans lamenting the lack of subs in the Steve Keane interim era. Might just see a few very shortly there. Burke and Kurda, an obvious candidate. Michael Roos getting ready for the home team. Brooks cut out by Federici. More frustration for just that.
They worked so hard, and they've been good for large parts and in large chunks of the game, but they've worked hard to get into those crossing situations, and it's basically been poor. And even so, they've had a lot of chances that they should have finished victory. There's no way they should be 0 on the scoreboard.
He's onside here. Brooks has stolen in behind. Big chance for the youngster. Woodwork struck. Cam Sober on the follow-up, and it is game on at Campbelltown. Cam Sober scores for the second time against Macarthur in the space of 8 days, and Leighton Brooks timed his run to perfection.
Well, they've righted the wrong. Melbourne Victory. It's a beautiful piece of vision and a lovely pass from Brimmer. Good run from Brooks. And the follow-up from Elvis. And we don't get the cartwheel. Maybe he's got the hump, Elvis. But he's certainly thrown his team a lifeline. They deserve that goal, Melbourne Victory.
Saving that for the equaliser, perhaps. Shushaeta still not right to play 90 minutes as he works his way back to peak fitness after injury. So on comes Michael Roos. And Macarthur FC haven't banked 3 points tonight by any means. Their lead has been halved, and there's plenty of time to go. Roos, first contribution to win the flick on. Cam Sober, and his shirt pulled. And Martis takes it quickly. Meredith in space on the flank. Shushnyao wants to use him. Keeps it tighter than that for Momwa. Now Meredith stretching to cross. And Roos looked around and said, I can track that one down myself. That pass might actually come off for Meredith, not as it was designed.
And we all spoke about, gentlemen, the importance of that little period, that little 65 to 75 minutes, and how it will shape the end of the game and which team would score. And you have to say, deservedly so, it was Melbourne Victory. And now we are in for a real nail-biter of a finish.
Roos again. Always looked the wrong way there, Derbyshire. He could have played in Mombois. Still might work out. Shaped in by Rose. And his radar was off.
And you can just sense the concern on the Macarthur bench with the state of affairs. A game they'll be thinking it should be all over by now. And now they're in the fight of their lives.
And those other teams in and around them on the ladder cheering on the Melbourne Victory. Oh, Brooks playing with swagger. Deflects across the face, and McGing first to react. Derbyshire was worried about letting Dylan Ryan off the hook with any physical contact. Heavy touch from Broxham played him into trouble. Advantage of Cruz for the victory after he was caught by Roos. Rue and Roos in close proximity there. Monwa's done well. Roos waited for it. Rue did not. Macarthur really backing off, protecting what they have and just leaving it to 2 or 3 to create any counter-attacks.
What a pity that pass from Brooks didn't come off, because that was a beautiful little passage from Victory. Midfield in the middle of it. That last pass through to Elvis Kamsova would have been away.
Now the bench is being worked big time. That's interesting. The sub is subbed after setting up the goal and getting an assist to his name. Leighton Brooks says to the fans, "I don't know why I'm being dragged. Thought I'd had a decent contribution," but Steve Keane says, "No, I want Birkin Kurdar on in your role," and he nearly teed up for Lamy early on. Ante Milicic ready to make a double change, but a sub being subbed. And Leighton Brooks understandably upset. Don't see it too often, Hubs.
No, very rare. Injury aside, a sub to be taken off in these sorts of circumstances.
After timing his run, throwing Federici with the eyes and setting up Kamsova with the assist off the post. A couple of minutes later, the hook's out.
Well, JP Di Marini is making his way up to the corner flag. I wonder if that's to greet the young man, talk him through the reasons.
He's been around long enough to know that that can shatter someone's confidence. Well done, JP Di Marini, explaining the situation. Here's Kurdar, who slices it through nicely for Barnett. Jested flies into action. Referee says play on as Shushnia wound up on the deck. All those white shirts back, defending their own area. Butterfield capable. Federici, everything behind it. Brimmer pings one to Falami. Beautiful touch. Isolated against McGing here, who backs off. Falami. Bodies in the road. Butterfield keeps the attack alive. Macarthur under immense pressure. Don't want to blow a 2-0 lead on their home patch.
The question for Victory is, from this part of the field, can they just drop one in for Rudy?
Counter-attack potential here. Derbyshire has pulled the wrong rein again. Gave it straight back. Falami looking dangerous. Across the face, and Milligan turns to Jested and said, not this time.
He's had a terrific game, Falami. I, for one, hope he stays around in the A-League next year. I know he wants to get back to Europe at the first and most appropriate opportunity, but he's shown enough on return to Australia, as far as I'm concerned.
Jested kept that one alive. Lockie Rose has no one to go to. Thumps it to space, and Michael Roos is chasing Barnett, and his head on a swivel.
It's hardly an adventurous chase from Macarthur to try and set Victory up in their own half again. Roos did chase athletically, and there wasn't a whitewash behind him, trying to block Victory in.
All this space as a result for the Victory to utilise. Storm Roo, clever pass, ghosting in behind. Elvis Kamsoba, just dead in the middle. Across the face, Falami was there. Great service from Kamsoba, and Steve Keane laments the lack of a finish in the middle.
And Ante Milicic, as he sends his last two subs on, lamenting the poor press upfield because Victory just played their way through. Needed the tail on it from Elvis. He whacked it into the danger zone. But in truth and in defence of Falami, it's a miracle for him to get to it. Great chance again, though, for Victory.
So Meredith and Momwa make way, both significant contributors tonight. Golick is on, so too Loic Puyo. Golick is going to play left back. Puyo in behind the front men. He's the target of this one. Derbyshire out the back, plays for the free kick and gets it.
And let's go back, if we can, to the discussion about subs at the start of the half. Just in, and you know, I thought it might have been a bit radical, the surgery to move Mark Milligan into midfield, but the way the half has unfolded, I think Milligan really could have helped steady the ship. They can't claim Macarthur to have been the better team in this half, and again they've just been kept in it largely because of Melbourne Victory's poor penalty area activity.
Same scoreline as last time between these two. Macarthur 2, Victory 1. Unless there's a late twist here. Brimmer somehow worked it back to Ryan, and now he's got space to turn into. Falami v McGing. Beautifully balanced athlete, Ben Falami. Now Butterfield. Barnett can use the winger again.
They're showing incredible resistance, Melbourne Victory, to just drop one in for Rudy late in the game.
Go to the feet of the number 9 instead. Now Kerdar floats one. Favoured McGing though. Roos to Rose. Lost out to Butterfield. Roos can keep it alive. Derbyshire peels wide. Michael Roos, a real robust character, slides it in. Derbyshire 3-1. That is perfection on the break. Derbyshire at the double. But Michael Roos couldn't have played it any better. A youngster with a real football brain.
Well, this is nowhere near as extreme a case, but 24 hours after Melbourne City have skipped clear of Adelaide 4-1, having survived some chances. Macarthur have done the same. Dylan Ryan's gone down again. He just, not to slip over then, the ball's just played in behind him, but he slipped over for Derbyshire's first goal. He can't intercept for Derbyshire's second goal, and that surely sealed it. Fine player, great acquisition. But in truth, in this second half, a bit of an escape act from Macarthur.
A lucky 13th goal of the season for Matt Derbyshire to seal a priceless 3 points, surely. Michael Roos is 18 years of age, doesn't turn 19 until August. He's making a real impact off the bench. He's built like the proverbial, and he can run like the wind and pick the right pass. Well played, young man. Eventually, Derbyshire turned to him. As Roos said, at your service. He was ready to adjust his boot there, Antonis Martis, and his teammate passed him the ball. 5 minutes being played of stoppage time here. And that certainly eased the tension around this place. Ante Milicic said there's a lot of tension every time one of these top 6 contenders goes around right now.
Yeah, well, it's a really soothing 3 points, which you'd expect this to be. There's still plenty of time, but I think Macarthur will bring this one home.
Kurtar slides it through, and Milligan got the jump on Kamsoba.
And a terrific substitution to bring Roos on. Well done to the coaching staff, because he is a very powerful individual. So much room still to improve and grow as a footballer. But he made that goal, not just with the final pass, but with the burst and the positivity from halfway. And the coach has been rewarded for the faith and vice versa.
And what a relief it must be to Ante Milicic's staff, and definitely to all these fans here that obviously accepted from 85 minutes on that we're going to try to see this game out, but it was important that they kept providing a threat, which they haven't done much of in terms of on the break. But like Harps just said, Michael Roos, fantastic, and an excellent finish from Matt Derbyshire. And what a difference now these last 5 minutes than it would have been if it was just 2-1.
Slip from Jean-Ro as he lined up for the extravagant sliced pass towards Lockie Rose or Roos. Really punched into Kurtar. That subbing of a sub will be spoken about post-game, no doubt, with Steve Keane, but in that little period after he took off Leighton Brooks, Kurtar nearly made things happen, and there was potential to grab that equaliser.
Yeah, I don't think in the end the explanation for victory losing these points are going to be because of substitutions. It's because they didn't take their chances, and too many times they didn't have the quality of delivery, and plenty of times they did get good delivery in as well. Let's not forget the fantastic save that Federici made in that first half. That could have tipped the confidence scales in victory's favour. So it's all on the Jets tomorrow against the Mariners at home. Can get off the bottom of the table.
Kamsoba still full of energy. Victory's only goal scorer so far today. Now Butterfield, his kind of range, but angle shut down by Martis. Lifted over the top for Kamsoba. He'll get there. Just dead in the middle. Federici, a little one-handed juggle action to frustrate Just dead even more.
Helped up, I'm sure everyone noticed, by Mark Milligan.
Burying the hatchet.
Well, this is over the course of the whole half. I think that's probably the second ball like that Rudy Just said has had to attack. And given the amount of possession Victory have had and opportunities to just drop those balls in for him is such an advantage. Of course, you don't want to overplay that hand, but you'd have to suggest that underplayed it totally tonight, Victory.
And there were 5 outfield players on the bench for the Melbourne Victory tonight. But, Leighton Brooks was involved in the only 2 subs made by Steve Keane. Came on for Robbie Cruz, who was injured first half, replaced by Kurtar for that last 20-minute session. Time just about up. Macarthur FC are going to bank a crucial 3 points. Victory still in wooden spoon calculations. As Golick gives up the late corner. This should be the final action of the game, and they take it short. Adam Kersey will let it roll. Driven in towards Just Dead. And that'll do us. The Bulls fans celebrate. Matt Derbyshire at the double. Scored the opener and scored the sealer either side of James Meredith's second goal in as many games. Elvis Kamsoba did pull one back for the victory late in the game to give them a sniff of playing party pooper here at Campbelltown, but in the end, Ante Milicic, I think he'll be delighted now with all 3 points. Full time in Friday night football. It's Macarthur FC 3, the Melbourne Victory 1.
Well, about 2 hours ago we thought we were going to have a fun night of football. For different reasons, both teams had a lot to play for, and very thankfully they delivered. It was a great night. Relief for Macarthur, a lot of positivity for Melbourne Victory, who could have done more out of this game over the 90 minutes had they had their shooting boots on. But a massive 3 points for the homeboys.
Down to you, Adam.
Thank you, Speedy. Thank you, Harps. Yeah, big night for Macarthur. I mean, yeah, I dare say the analysis is going to take a bit longer than usual after a 3-1 win, because Melbourne Victory had chance after chance in that one, but we end the evening with Macarthur now in second position, Mark Bosnich. Is that the overriding factor, all that matters right now, and then tomorrow worry about the rest of it?
I think that is exactly right, Adam, as the music blares right in front of us here. Crucial, crucial, crucial victory. You know, very, very rarely, if you have a look at the stats here, I cannot remember another time this season where Macarthur was outpossessed by the opposition, but they were tonight, and Melbourne Victory run them so close. You can just tell the relief on the bench's face, on the fans' face, on the players' face when they got that third goal to guarantee 3 points and to go into second place.
I reckon they'll hear this song through the PA back in Blackburn, where Derbyshire learnt to play proper football. And, well, here he is right now listening to this beautiful music blaring through the speakers here. Matty, well done. Again, more goals for you, so that means